Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let's get into it. So this morning, Monday morning, I believe this is the last week of the month. Yep. So we have 5 days left in the month. Let's look at how it's looking. Let's jump over here to the scanner. So we can see we have BKYI up 161%, 56 million shares traded. We have Click up 83%. We have TGL up 42%. And then below that, ADTX barely moving, lower priced, and then AREB. So these are the low floats that we have on the morning moving. Let's go do our due diligence and see what is going on with them. I'm going to switch this over to this one. No, that's the watch list. Let's be this one. Okay, and let's go over to the main. So this is BKYI right now. Started down here at 86 cents, closed at 78 cents. I guess we can look into this one first since it has the biggest mover, $1.86. BioKey International. All right, so it says the description. It is out of Homedale, New Jersey. BioKey International develops and markets fingerprint identification biometrics technology and software solutions and enterprise-ready identity access management solutions for commercial, government, and education sectors in the United States and internationally. It offers BioKey Portal Guard and Portal Guard IDAAS solutions, a customer controlled and neutral by design cloud-based identity platform that allows customers to integrate with any cloud or on-premise SaaS application services and cloud hosts, as well as Windows device authentication through a IAM platform. Okay, so things like cybersecurity, identification, things like that. It was incorporated in 2002, founded in 1993, so it's been around for a while. What's the next one here? Actually, let's go ahead and just go ahead and look through the whole thing before we move on to the next one. So we'll come over here to the daily chart. And I guess I have seen this one before at some point. Let me clear the drawing set. The daily chart does look like it had an explosion. Went up to $3, came back down, explosion up to about $3.69. And right now it's at 185. Okay. 185, 119, 143. Not a whole lot of clear points up here for it to try to run to. Not sure 370 is where it'll be trying to go. but not a whole lot of obvious levels in here to be marked up. As far as the 5-minute and the 15-minute, the ATR on this one is 138 to 146. This is the 15-minute, 146 on the 15-minute, 138 on the 5-minute. And then if we jump back over here, it is 135 down here on the point of control. So between 146 right here, oh, wrong one. All right, 146 to down here to 136 is the heavily traded area here. Let's see, their news for today: BioKey International and IT2 Trust partner to strengthen IAM and biometric security across the Nordic region of Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland. And then it's a repeat of that news catalyst. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it has catalysts on today. And we'll see. It's got 59 million shares traded. Let's go look at Click. Click was one that started ripping on Friday after market. Started down here at $6, ripped up here to, well, first rip was to up to $8, kind of coiled back down, ripped up to 10, held here. Then at the top of the morning, exploded on up, went up to a high of 1831. Okay, but its news came from last week. It's $11 and something, up 83%, only 6 million shares traded. I'm still thinking that BKYI has the majority of the pool on today. TGL up 38%. Let's see. I don't see any kind of catalyst on it with 28 million shares traded. Let's go look over here at Click. Click is looking like Click Holdings Limited provides human resources solutions in Hong Kong. These segments: professional solution services, nursing solution services, and logistics. Other solution services. Okay, so Hong Kong, Chinese, yeah, Asian. Let me go ahead and mark that up. Put a note out there for that so I can remember. This is a Hong Kong. And it hasn't been trading for long. Incorporated in 2024. Not a whole lot of history behind that. All right, and then TGL up 38%. Let me go look at this one. Treasure Global Inc. Treasure Global Inc. through its subsidiary TADAA Technologies offers payment processing and e-commerce services. The company provides an online to offline e-commerce. All right, that's not that exciting. E-commerce. This one was incorporated in 2020, and it's based in New York, New York. Go ahead and put that up there. E-commerce, and it is New York, New York. All right, so let's start testing, or let's start getting a taste of what the market is, the sentiment of the market is, real quick. 2020. So we got my note there. And I will continue to look around for new things to pop up. Let's jump over here to Homepage should be able to play videos now, I think. Trump signals U.S.-China trade deal is near. Gold drop deepens as U.S.-China deal hopes rise. Yup, people selling that gold. They got in there and it's like, nah, we don't need this. Why this strategist is eyeing value stocks in AI's next chapter.
Here's the thing you call out. You say value stocks may be the best.
Let's go ahead and let you load in a little bit.
Here's the thing you call out. You say value stocks may be the best way to play the second chapter of the AI story. Dig into that. Explain what you mean by that, and what would be broadly the sectors to play that.
Yeah, so I think if we look at the first order effects of AI, and you look at an NVIDIA, you look at Meta, Google, you look at the names that are really tied to sort of the making of AI, if you will, that we largely think is priced in at this point, or at least there are a lot of expectations about what the future of AI is going to look like that are baked into those prices, right? We think the second and third order effects are, how does AI actually infiltrate the economy? How does it get diffused into other sectors? So take financials, for instance, highly sort of labor intensive around regulatory requirements, just their ability to integrate tech to make things more efficient from a payments processing perspective, right? To use AI in novel ways to reduce some of the cost structure, to enhance margins. Industrials would be another one, as you think about the ability of AI to displace labor through autonomy, robotics, automation, those sorts of things. So we think that that's not necessarily priced into those names at this point. Now it's going to take several quarters, maybe even several years to play out. There'll be a long tail on this, but nonetheless, we think those assets aren't necessarily priced for perfection right now, whereas some of those mega cap tech names are, and we think that's a pretty good relative value
attractive trade. Yep. Andrew, great to have you on set today. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Someone once said,
all right, so while that's doing this little, actually, no, let's just go ahead and jump into it.
Here, as you know, there's a lot of chat with Apple here. As you know, there's a lot of chatter that there's pretty good uptake of the iPhone 17. That's not going to be in the quarter that they're about to report, but how is that going to feed through into maybe what we hear from Apple?
It's a surprise upgrade cycle. I mean, that's the reality, right? I mean, no one expected it was going to be, including, even myself, no one expected it was going to be this strong. So that's going to be clear, good in terms of obviously going to holiday season in terms of guidance. China, I mean, we talk about with Tesla, China now actually goes to a tailwind for Apple from a headwind. And that's important because you go back to the last few months, New York City cab driver is bearish in Apple. Now you set up for what I believe is going to be the Apple Gemini partnership on AI. That's how you're going to get to what I think in a year from now is, $325, $350 stock.
And then, Dan, finally, we're also going to hear from Microsoft. And I'm curious, as we look at the sort of hyperscaler wars or cloud wars, if you will, do you think that Amazon's outage is going to allow Microsoft to grab a little market share?
I don't think so, because I think that continues to be sticky. But I do think, look, when it comes to Jassy and Amazon, they're playing catch up relative to enterprise, what Microsoft's doing, because they are in pole position on these enterprise AI workloads as that stays within that sort of Redmond base. Now, Google has clearly had massive growth, and I think you'll see it again in terms of all of our checks, what we'll see from GCP this quarter. Look, but for Amazon, that's the opportunity. And I think that's right now the big focus to make sure that they're not on the outside looking in.
S&P 500 laggers could outperform in coming years. Here's why. Yeah, I couldn't break that other one. All right. Let's see what they're saying about the S&P 500.
Bulls come on and they say, listen, earnings growth is healthy and the economy is resilient and the Fed is cutting. Having said that, do you think at these levels, Eric, we're pricing in a lot of that good news?
Sure. This is not a cheap market. This is an expensive market, and as we've talked about, a very concentrated market. The top 10 stocks now accounting for 40% of the market cap here. So, by the way, if you take out those top 10, the PE of the market becomes a lot more rational. And just an interesting point, when the market gets this concentrated, when we get over 30% in the top 10, the next 5 years, the 495 other bottom stocks outperform 95% of the time. The point being, don't just over-concentrate your portfolio into those top beautiful AI stocks that have carried the market. There's a decent chance that at some point here, leadership can and will change. But listen, markets get expensive and they can get more expensive. What's the catalyst? There has to be some kind of catalyst with, as we've said, with all this CapEx, with this accommodative Fed, with the big beautiful bill and 100% depreciation in 1 year. It's hard to make a bearish case here.
Still watching the scans over here. But going through the news, kind of getting a taste test of what
And so
the market's looking
when
like.
you're looking at many of these meme stocks, which don't necessarily have that 3 to 5 year time horizon of out earning the cost of capital, or maybe it's possible, but we don't know what that game plan is. I mean, do you think that investors are making a mistake, or or some of them just kind of trading these things, and so it's not they're not necessarily when you're looking at many of these meme stocks, which don't necessarily have that 3 to 5 year time horizon of out earning the cost of capital, or maybe it's possible, but we don't know what that game plan is. I mean, do you think that investors are making a mistake, or or some of them just kind of trading these things, and so it's not they're not necessarily viewing it as
This thing's still trying to play an ad on the background.
a buy and hold fundamental investment?
Well, I think that's certainly an important distinction. If you're trading it, that's different than investing in it for a longer term time frame. But one factor that I think probably is a useful tool in a lot of investors' portfolios is the importance of price momentum or fundamental momentum as an input to their investment process. A lot of these companies do have price momentum behind them over the last 12 months, over the last 6 months, been very, very strong. But I think for this to persist into the future, these companies also need to demonstrate fundamental momentum. Okay, growing revenues, growing earnings, consistently out-earning their cost of capital for this to not only just be a trade, but turn into a sustainable investment.
And so, Matt, let's broaden this out, because there are certainly other areas of the market that have been speculative besides the memes. There's a lot of talk that the largest companies in the stock market could be in a bubble. I'm talking about the Mag 7 and the concerns over AI. So sort of extrapolate what we were just talking about, but talk about these big stocks and whether you think that they have gotten out ahead of their skis.
Well, we're talking about a very different quality profile. Let's just first, underline that point. Companies that are in the Magnificent Seven, so companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, as an example, far outseed out earn their cost of capital sustainably, and they do it consistently. Now, a lot of the fundamental momentum behind these names the last few years has been driven by, the AI compute infrastructure build out. The sustainability of that, I think, is the question mark. So far this year, we've seen continued upward revisions as we look to 2026. If you look at the 4 largest hyperscalers, estimates for 2026 capex have risen by over 40%. That's a significant number. Over another $100 billion worth of capex is expected for 2026, on top of the $300 billion that was penciled in at the beginning of the year. And so that is investment that's going to flow to the NVIDIAs of the world, the Broadcoms of the world. It's just the question of ultimately the return on investment of all of this investment. And so certainly these companies have the cash flows to continue to spend. It's just whether or not they're going to continue to spend from their point of view of seeing that return on that investment. And it's just simply too early to tell at this point.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it here. Let's jump back over here to our the market real quick. So BKY was leading the day around, it came up here a couple of times to 214, kind of topped out here, starting to really test that $2.03. The main point of control, it was right here between 146 and 135. So we'll see if it can get back down there. The next one up was Click with 90% up. This one was a Hong Kong stock that was up a little bit, but I mean, it's a Chinese stock, could get very dangerous here on Monday morning. TGL has been flatlining for quite a bit of time. It's e-commerce out of New York, and it was incorporated in 2020. Below that, not really seeing much more. The structure here really hasn't been hard checked on the downside of this. We'd like to see it start to try to break down probably the 190s down to the 180s. It's already failed this top 12, or well, one, and then double topped up there. Looks like, yeah, one fell. Actually, no, this one was a little lower, so this was a little bit of a breakout. But now starting to really hard tap that $2. Still up 161% with 69 million shares traded. Speaking of, let's go over here, and while we're waiting, let's go look at what I got going on in my metrics. So Friday, took a trade on SLMT. It was definitely out of scope. It wasn't up 20%, wasn't up anything like that. Didn't have much volume. Now I did get a winner, but I probably should have took more profit off of this. Let me go ahead and show y'all what the profit scale looked like. So I got in and it was kind of mudding around, right? Got in and then I went down a little bit, right? So it went down about $50 or 82 bucks, 82 bucks. Okay. Then it popped back up, came back through, and then it was up here. And I was like, well, this is going to be an irrational day. This was kind of like a continuation on, good morning, Donnell. This was like a continuation on the move from earlier in the week. It went up there to about 100 bucks. And I said, if this thing pops, I want to be in on this, but I kept working after it cleared this green, I just kept working my stop loss up, and up. It did go up there to like 103, but it didn't end up coming down and stopping me out. There were other movers on the day, so it is what it is. It was a green trade, but it definitely was not a B, or C, or D. It was probably a D. It was a continuation, but definitely could not get me there. All right, so BKYI continues to make these pop outs here, continue to get more and more wicky. So last time it stopped at 214 and now it's 216, and still no true downtrend structure here. The bottom of this is 195 that it came down to the last time. And it continues to try to hold up this $2 with 70 million shares traded now. This is a cheaper stock, so we expect to see more wicks. But back over here to what I was talking about with this. So the month, I did some recovery this month and all of that. And so keeping my losses, I didn't even trade on Wednesday. This time I was like, no, I'm good. Every Wednesday ends up taking more profit than I need. So Monday took put a little dip down. Tuesday recovered that. Wednesday didn't trade. Thursday cut the risk or cut the loss very quickly on SLMT, and then on this one took one trade on SMLT, so it pretty much made back what I lost on it, and then I just stopped. So now we're into the last week after the recovery on the month, and so we'll just keep on playing defense if it's not worth it. Really looking for A+ setups at the end of the month. So if I don't see those, I will definitely steer clear and keep money in the pocket. All right, let's go back over here and finish what they're talking about with Trump and Xi. And I have him muted.
Politics. U.S. China, because now we know Trump and Xi set to meet next week. South Korea, I think it's going to be late Wednesday evening Eastern time. How's an investor you thinking through that?
It's a great question. I'll be honest. Right now, I'm still suspicious it's going to happen. But if it does happen, I'm very focused on, quite honestly, the Taiwan situation. I think one underappreciated risk to the equity markets is if anything ever did happen with Taiwan that would jeopardize sort of the semiconductor ecosystem, that is a major tail risk type event. So as an investor, I'm particularly concerned about sort of China-Taiwan discussions and relationships. Secondary relationship is then tariffs and sort of where they're able to hopefully break bread and get to a common ground on in terms of the tariffs in both directions. I don't like the way that things escalated on rare earths a few weeks ago. I'm glad that it seems to have walked back a bit, and I would hope that if they do meet next week, they're able to keep walking things back. So I'm optimistic.
There are some strategists who I hear say, listen, when it comes to Trump and Xi, their bet is you can get some huffing and puffing and some bad headlines, but at the end of the day, their bet, they tell clients, is you're going to get a handshake and a deal because the risk of not getting one is too great for both parties.
I largely agree with that. Yeah. I do think there's a lot of huffing and puffing. Handshake and a deal, we'll see. They're both master negotiators, and they both think they've got the upper hand. So I'm not sure we're quite to the point yet where they both feel they need to reach across the table and shake hands. So we might have a meeting that ends somewhat inconclusively. I don't think that's the end of the world for the equity markets if we end that position. I think the worst situation might be there's no meeting and there's more of a contentious discussion and we have to worry about incremental tariffs from two sides that don't want to yet talk. I doubt that's where we end up again. I think we have a meeting. I'm less certain on where we end up once the meeting occurs.
All right, jump over here. So BKY making its way back down, made a new high. We'll see how this ends up holding it down. 203s, and it's got its point of control way down here. I mean, look at how far it can go. $2 all the way back down to 142. That's a lot of space because this trend hasn't really been broken. Now it could just continue to hammer up. It could do that, but if this trend holds, we'll see. Hasn't been tested that much. Has just been kind of grinding with a couple of wicks. All right, let's see where Click is sitting. Click still looking disgusting. TGL. So yeah, this is one of those Mondays where people are trying to temperature test the market. There really wasn't any big topics last week to follow. There was momentum, but there's more when there's more security in the idea. There's a good idea that is going to be good for people and things like that. It's a lot easier to hold those, right? This last week was just kind of on the fence, just not really hot, not really cold. the opportunities that it did give, you needed to take profit very quickly. You know, everything was just like, ugh. So we'll see if we get something to pop. But as of for right now, if this is going to be the best that we have on the day, I'll definitely be on the sidelines, especially in pre-market. Move this down here so I can actually see it. Activate. This is Hong Kong stock. Okay, so we had an original idea. Let's see what the next idea is. Boom, boom. Came up here to almost the tops of the bodies and then got some rejection. Bottom of this is $2 basically. So a breakdown of 2. $2.12. It's going to be a lower high. We'll see how that candle closes. Bottom of this candle is 206. $206. Well, hopefully you all had a great weekend. Good morning, Hebrew. Been out here, you know, protecting our funds, staying away from, you know, I mean, I think I took 2 D setups this month, really. I mean, just bad setups. One of them gave me green, one of them gave me big red, and I had to do a lot of recovery work to get out of that hole. Everything else is pretty much seeing up. And I don't think I think I saw like maybe 1 or 2 just A+ setups that I just had to get into. But really wasn't a whole lot of A's this month. But the way it goes, we're walking away green. It's kind of slowing down, getting a little range there. TGL kind of looking like a barcode. Not a lot of people kind of mess with those when they start looking like barcodes. Just waiting for BKYI to fall. $74 million shares traded on BKYI. I think it's probably going to have 100 million by the time we get to the open. Very thickly traded, cheaper stock. Very small ranges as well. All right, there's a 2. Breaking all down. That's what we want to see. Want to see it give up so something else can possibly come up. Yes, sirree, all the way back down through that 190. Still got room all the way down here to the pretty much the 150s, 40-cent drop. So latest, let's see, US, China have reached framework. Okay, let me refresh the page. Do we have any speakers on today? Today is the 27th, last week of the month. So let's see what speakers we have. 27, 28, 29th, FOMC meeting. That's Wednesday. Thursday, we have a speech by Bowman. This is a pre-recorded video, so it's not really live there. So no live speakers that are listed on the FOMC website. All right, so here are the key U.S.-China issues to watch in Trump-Xi summit. Let's go look into that, see what they're talking about. Here are the key China issues. Is this a video or what is this? Okay, a meeting Thursday between Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. Oh my goodness. All right, it's said to be one of the key diplomatic events. So this is going to be on Thursday. Trump and Xi is going to be meeting up. We're going to see how how the market reacts to this meeting. So he told traveling reporters Monday on Air Force One that while nothing has been agreed, he felt good going into the meeting with Xi, set to take place on the sidelines of Asia's Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea. Okay. Okay, so rare earths. China curbs on exports of rare earths, a critical component in industrial supply chains. Chinese firms are, let's see, the processing of which is dominated by Chinese firms. It has been a key pain point for U.S. this year. Let's see, export controls, fentanyl supply. Trump earlier this year slapped a 20% import surtax on Chinese goods over what he alleged was failure by Beijing to curb exports of the drug fentanyl and its precursors. Okay, TikTok, the US and China are finalizing a deal to spin off the US operations of social media platform TikTok from its Beijing-based owner. Shipping levies. China began to collect special port fees on US-owned and built vessels. The same day Washington imposed charges on large Chinese ships calling at US ports. Okay, soybean trades. Additional tariffs. China currently faces a 55% surtax on its exports to America in the wake of Trump administration's ramp up of levies in April. Russia war. While China and U.S. have so far largely limited their talks to economic issues, Besant has indicated that when the two leaders meet, they're also going to discuss a global peace plan after Trump said publicly he hoped to enlist Xi's help in resolving Russia's war in Ukraine. Xi and Russian President Vladimir Putin has pushed their nations closer together since Moscow's full invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, with China providing economic and diplomatic backing for its neighbor. And that's about it. That's all the issues. So, okay. Jump back over here. So BKYI continue to scroll on down. Now it is under $2 and it only has 30 cents to fall back to this heavily traded level. Donnell says BKY warrants 1,545,834 shares. Exercise price at 215. Yeah. Wait, where? Let me see. Did they just post it, or where is that? Or is that BKYIW or something like that? Warrants. Let's see, warrants. No, no. I don't know what the ticker for the warrants are. Look back. But that's a good call out. So it's pretty much already reached the price that it was trying to get to at two. I mean, it went right to it at 216 and turned around. So definitely not something to be played with today. Pretty sure today will once people get active, once we see where the volume is, it's going to kind of further help us to identify. Let me go ahead and pull up a trading view as well. See where Bitcoin is. Since they're selling off gold right now, that means money's going to have to go somewhere else. People don't just sit their money, put their money, they don't want their money stagnant. They want to always have it somewhere. And so if gold is taking a dip, I'm wondering what Bitcoin back up to 1,500. It had dipped all the way down here to 103s, and I was adding all through this bottom, adding around that $100,000 mark. But we'll see where these things want to go over the weekend. A lot of things pulled back up, so we'll see if they continue to follow Bitcoin back towards the highs up to the 125s. But yeah, I was definitely adding on those dips. Definitely. Oh, I'm not showing y'all trading view. Okay, here's trading view. Bitcoin back up to 115. What I was saying was when it dipped down here to the 103s, I was adding into my cryptos. Even if it kept falling, I still, had space to add down here, but it did not. It came back up to the tops of the bodies of these candles. So it looks like there is a little bit of buying pressure in there. BKYI just going to be a grinder downwards, looks like. $181, very slow motion. Barely getting 1,000. It's like getting thousands now. It was getting hundreds of thousands of shares traded, but only thousands now. All right, gold and stems drop as U.S.-China trade progress erodes haven demand, extending its first weekly drop since mid-August. That's one thing, man. I've never been a big gold person or, precious metals. People kind of run to them when they get scared. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Gold, it has these big kind of tidal wave movements when there's a lot of fear. People like, oh, well, let me just go get some gold. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Gold failed, extending its first weekly drop since mid-August as progress on China's U.S.-China trade deal sapped haven demand. Bullion declined as much as 2.1%. To near 4,025 an ounce. The U.S. and China signaled that they are nearing completion of a sweeping deal as President Trump visits Asia for a series of diplomatic engagements. An agreement may ease some of the economic risk and geopolitical tensions that have bolstered the precious metal. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I just stay away from gold, man. sure I don't know. I was gonna say I'm sure I'll regret that one day, but I don't even know. I don't even know at this point. BKYI continues to climb on down. Looking for something new to pop up and take the reins. Let me show y'all the current watch list. Right, test. So this is what I'm looking at as the watch list. Is this it? Yep. So BKYI kind of just losing itself with almost 80 million shares traded, just sitting under the two. Then we got Click, which is a Hong Kong stock, Asian stock. Then we got TGL, ADTX, and yeah, that's pretty much all I'm seeing. All I'm seeing, or all I want to see, I guess. IVF. I thought IVF was gonna do better and come on up, but yeah, it didn't. I didn't end up touching IVF at all. QLGN, knee up. So pretty much just waiting for these things to fail. Continue to press down. Fell out. Got several ideas here that it could fail though. So where it starts for me is visualizing the ideas. So I just pretty much on a stock that's meeting my criteria, draw almost every idea that I can see, and then let the price action invalidate those ideas. I usually don't draw trends from like back here. Let's say the lower high or something. I just go ahead and get rid of those. Look at the outlier, the peak out there, and make them off of that. Some of these bottom peaks. So this one was a little dip down to 174. This one was a dip down to 163, 146. And these little outliers to the downside, I use those as kind of like trying to find uptrends that can break down. And what invalidates these is a break. So let's say this one is at 174. Breaks that 174, invalidates that uptrend. And one of the things I do want to see is it try to go back up and not be able to break back over. And then I'm like, okay, that's invalid. And same thing with any of these other ones. As it continues to fall, as it breaks them, shows us that it can't make it back up there. I'm like, all right, moving on down, moving on down. So 180 is looking like a kind of special spot for it to try to break that 180. $184s. $80 million shares traded. Bouncing a little bit off that 184. Now we got a trend inside of the trend. If it can stay down, this top side here, creating a new downtrend. Point of control looks to have moved up here at 189. So previous point of control is all the way down here. So 189, what's the 5 minute? 5 minutes 183, 15 minutes 196. So 196, the top. So let's draw us a new box and see how this holds it down. 196 down to 189. Right there. All right, so this is looking like it's range. Activate. That it can play within. Still waiting on a breakdown of 180s. Click went on under $11. It's slightly off. This should be right there at 189. 189 there. Okay. All right. Continue to break down. think one of the things that I've seen over the Mondays that we've been trading is they always have this one that's super high volume, and then we see one come up, near the open that has a much better idea. After you get chopped up on trash like this, it comes through with a much better idea that is probably going to be playable throughout the week. I know it's been pretty slow, but I am expecting at some point there's going to be a topic drop that is going to be like, hey, we need to hold this. And it's going to go, and it's going to continue to go up and up and up. This thing is so thickly traded right there at the bottom side of this is insane. So I think if it does make a move down, it could go straight to 175 from here with how thickly traded it is. 185, 175 is down here. And that'll be to the next level, 175. So it's using these top little trends here as a little bit of resistance. We'll see if it gets through them. But if they fail from here, I'm going to go ahead and invalidate these little uptrends as it's using it as, yep. All right. So invalidate this guy. Went up there and tested both of these. Bounced again off of this level of the 185, but it's becoming coming below this this heavily traded area. We can close under this box. I'm gonna go ahead and invalidate. Looks like one of these, but these got some time though. Right back up to the box. Next one, getting hit there. Let's see if it fails it. Needs to become resistance. Threw a wick up to the top of the box. See this failure point back below 190. And this is going to form a new outlier here. New idea. Okay. So it invalidates that. Oops. Now it has an uptrend that's holding it down. If it starts to break this uptrend, I mean, maybe it's some buying pressure in there, but has a low down here of 187. Back up to that uptrend, top of the box. Continues to find resistance right at that top. A 100 million shares traded on this one as well. So now we've retested this other level as well. Bottom down here of 185. About a 10 cent drop out of this box. I'm surprised it's this much struggle right here. Opening up lower. Bottom side of this previously tested level right here at 186. Invalidating the next, well, it came up to this one, got over it, so it's going to have to actually show it as a resistance. 80s. Right down there to back to this level. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 times it's been down here. And popping off of one of those other trends. All right. Now it's treating it at, we'll see if it continues to treat this 190 as resistance. What could possibly hold it up? The question. some ideas down here, but we'll see if it starts to break these down pretty quick. So it failed to get back through here, treated this uptrend as some type of resistance, and it's overall in downtrends. Okay, so failed this one. Go ahead and remove. Mm-mm-mm. Right now, there's literally nothing else on the scan that is a low float that kind of like loving. So by watching this, I know this is trash, and I know I'm not gonna hit the buy button on this on accident. So it's like it's keeping me away from other trash, especially with it having 107 million shares traded. This thing's got to give up the ghost at the open, and it just continues to try to come back up here. Like it's kind of starting to pick up some momentum to the downside. Starting to treat these as resistance up here, these little uptrends. Bottom side of this is 180 once again. It actually broke to a lower level. So all of this is confirming some weakness here. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Continue to treat this. Popping back up there to the uptrend inside the box. Once again, let's see if it finds more shorts. How many shorts are they going to let get in this? This is 1, 2, 3 times it's been up here. So I'm thinking if it does slam, it's going to be a pretty big one. know one thing, shorts, if it starts breaking over this 196, it may be an issue for the shorts. I do know that. Well, 197 was a previous peak out. We'll see how it handles that. Previous bottom down here at 180. Okay, there we go. There's the test, getting on back under that box. I know a lot of shorts got in on this though, for sure. This is 3 times coming up here to the 194s. I think the shorts are scared of this going up. I really think they are. Because it's trash and it shouldn't be going up, but y'all know fear is something serious when people start fat fingering buttons. All right, so now it's coming down back down to this 189. Can it break back below the box? So another outlier here. Plenty of downwards ideas here. Can we get a close under the 187s? 187, murder. So that is not a good sign. Donnell called out RECT. RECT. I'm not seeing that one yet. Let me see what that one is. RECT, murder. Yep, it's a little bit higher float. This one has news that Rectude Holdings partners with Pansic Technology to drive expansion in renewable energy and deal. So let me see. Rectude Holdings partners expanding with energy storage across Asia and Middle East, signs a $2.3 million deal to grow Super Sun Energy Systems. Okay, okay. So look at this. This one's looking a little bit more bullish. Let's see what we got over here. RECT. Come on now, pull up. All right. Well, I wanted to look through the profile, but it is moving exponentially. Oh, TOS is not allowed to trade. Yeah, I kind of figured that looking at this daily chart. Let me show y'all this daily chart real quick. Look at this daily chart. Look how trash this is. Look at this. You get snatched into this, they're gonna take your soul, your shoes, your spinal cord. It closed at 348 and it is now at 781. And with this type of action, I know no bank in the world that is a broker wants this type of risk. Sure, somebody's in there throwing their lots, but yeah, this daily chart is looking crazy. 768 was the previous high. And I think TOS is saving lives here because it looks like a trash stock. And the catalyst is trash too. Let's see. So we're gonna edit this. So it got a peak level up here, and what we're gonna watch this thing cook people today. So peak daily level. I was okay until I saw this daily chart. Let's see. So it started trading, looks like from six. Is this a young company? No, this is a Singapore company. Okay, so it says Rectitude Holdings Limited, an investment holding company, engages in wholesale and supply of safety equipment in Singapore. The company offers personal protective clothing, hand gloves, step platform ladders, safety footwear, travel restraints, and personal fall arrest equipment, portable fire extinguishers, firefighting equipment, and fire-related safety products, traffic products, and industrial hardware tools, electrical products, and accessories. It sells its products under the D&D Skyhawk, Super Sun, Strikers, Osprey, Hornet, and Dade brands. It serves wholesalers, distributors, and end users. Rectitude Holdings Limited was founded in 1997 and is based in Singapore. Why does it have like limited history on the daily chart then? This history only goes back to, on TOS, it only goes back to 2024. So maybe it didn't IPO until really late or something. But yeah, I think that's a trap. Yep. So even though it's up, even though it's got the momentum, TOS has our best interests at heart and to keep us out of trash. RECK, so it hit a high up here of 870 and the peak level was this 769 here. So the first idea, it's got a little downtrend. I don't know how this is gonna hold because it's kind of steep, but yeah, Singapore, let me add that note too. This is a Singapore stock. That Singapore, did I spell that right? Probably. Yeah. Singapore. It says it's been incorporated since 97, but the history only goes back to 2024. Maybe they did a name change or something. Let me go and look into that and see what they did. Rectitude Holdings. What's the ticker again? RECT. Did they do, so did a name change or reverse split? Let's see what we got here. Did RECK stock do a name change or reverse split? No evidence of a recent name change for Rectitude Holdings. All sources consistently list the company as Rectitude Holdings Ltd. The company profile and press releases confirm this name has been in use since its IPO in June 2024. Okay, so this is a younger stock. So it didn't IPO until 2024. Okay. So this is definitely a younger one. Went up there to 1004. Making some highs there. Like I said, this little idea was a little steep. Went up there to 1004 though. Is a little bit higher float. I probably won't see this one until the open, actually. Bottom level 769. Trying to make some moves out there and get people trapped. So I'm wondering if it can make moves like that upwards on the news that it currently has, what would the news downwards look like? Or not news downward, but what would the move downwards look like on this news? So again, it's too steep to draw any kind of idea here. The previous idea was down here to the 769s. It's got to do some more trading. And it only has 7 million shares traded on it. So approaching that 10 million mark quite quickly. We'll see what happens here. Oh, let me update this. It IPO'd, so edit, IPO'd in IPO 2024, but incorporated in 1997. And that's misspelling there. Incorporated. All right. Says it closed with the ATR of 37 cents yesterday. Does not look like it's had any kind of, really big volume at all. Okay, so now we're getting another outlier idea here. So 1001, whoops. 1001. Go ahead and put the idea here. It looks a little bit less steep. So it's got these two trends here, and then it's got a peak level at 769, which looks to be the high all-time high. Time for you to baptize them. Let's see what these points of controls are on it, on the 5 and the 15. So on the 5 minute, it is at 729. On the 15 minute, it is at 733. Then on this one, it's 787. So I'll go ahead and draw our box. 787 down to 733. 733 in here is the heavily traded level. 732. I can't. Let's do 732 then. Is what it is. $2 million share or less than 2 million shares. About to be 9 million in the pocket. We're gonna see what this 10 million looks like on it. $200,000 away from 9 million. $9 whole dollar level that is sitting at right now. Will it destroy this idea that I had, or will it get back down here to the 722s quite quickly? And we got our points of control right down here around this range. The zone is from 788 down to 730s, basically. Okay, looks like it went down and just tapped the edge of this point of control right there. $500,000 shares, and it'll be at 10 million. So this is one that I wouldn't see into the open for sure because of that higher float. Let me look at what that float's looking like on this Singapore Asian stock here. So it says that the float is what, 2.4 million, but the outstanding shares are showing a little bit higher. Where's the outstanding? So outstanding shares 14.5, a little bit higher on the outstanding shares. A lot of times we want to see low float and outstanding shares, and that's presumably giving us looks like it made a lower high into this, or a lower low into this little level here. Barely creased it. To get out of this level, it's going to have to break back over 850. And I don't know with that catalyst if it can do it. But that's quite a bit of a sell-off here from 924 down to pretty much $1 loss there. And Coming right on down back to this peak level. Singapore said they're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. All right, so do we have any upward ideas here? So it came down to this level. This could be some type of idea here, but I'm not sure. It hasn't really traded enough to kind of create lower or higher lows than this 750 level. 100,000 shares, and we're going to be over 10 million shares right as it comes to this peak level. It's coming to 10 million shares right now. All right, 10 million shares in there. Let's see how they attack this. I know this is on some radars for sure of people, and the problem is it's going to be missing liquidity from TOS and probably from some other brokers that have pulled back from this. So let's see if it holds up with that missing liquidity. Bottom side of this is 730s. Trend up here, 850. Continues to trade. All right, well, anyway, let's see what it does here. Trying to hold that 8. Okay. So we're well within our box now. Got a open inside the box. And let's see how 730s. This is the end of the box where the points of control. Let's see if it gets a little bounce here. Bounce off the bottom of the box. Little bounce. Bounce off the bottom of the box. Wow. All right, well, it's got a couple seconds here left. Okay, there's a little bounce back into the box. Usually it stays within the, when it's a heavily traded level, it'll stay there for a minute so people can make a decision on which way it needs to move. So it's about to close this candle at the bottom of the box now. So I'm expecting some type of tap back up possibly to 769 to prove that this is a level that can't be beat. See it get back over 730s. Nope, continues to make lower lows. Old Singapore making their money out here today. All right, well, it is about 7:30. I'll keep my eyes open looking around for things that are maybe a little bit more predictable. But yeah, it's just kind of not even coming back and testing this trend here. It's kind of just out in the middle of both of these. Now, this one is kind of invalid because it has this higher level. And there's not a whole lot of upward ideas here. So we had this little peak out here. Wrong drawing tool. We had this peak out here up to this level. It's showing a little bit of green there. But I'm just not sure. It's going to have to show that it can hold up $6 and all of that. It's got 11 million shares traded, up 104%. It'll pop on my scans after the open. But yeah, I would have definitely avoided this one. Even with the call out, I still would have avoided it. Baptism by fire, boy. Woo. Imagine being up here looking for the break at like $9 and then being down almost almost $2 and something. Imagine that. But this is why we do our due diligence. I forgot to put a disclaimer up, but make sure that you have your strategy. Make sure you have your statistics. And if you are building statistics, use small share size. Like use one share, see how it does. One share, see how it does. That will save you a lot of money, and it'll get you to the ideas that will probably make you money. But yeah, I would say, something's moving, it looks exciting. Go read up on it. If it's good, it'll give you time to study up. If it's bad, then, it probably won't. It's probably just going to do something like this, go up there and just die. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for sure. I'll be back tomorrow morning for pre-market. I'm going to I'll keep my eyes open today. If I don't see anything, I do have a lot of work to do today because it is Monday morning. And a lot of times when I have work to do, it's just best to just focus on that and not really be trying to get back over here so quickly, because usually it'll be something new. It won't be something that I've researched because this pre-market has looked pretty weak. So I would have to do my due diligence during the day, find the setup that I'm looking for, and try to get a little bit off of it. So it's kind of a little bit more work to do that midday, coming off of whatever else that I'm working on. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's it for today. Be careful, keep your head on the swivel, do your due diligence, read up on these stocks, and start to learn how to value the different ideas in the market. All right, but yeah, that's it for me today. And as always, see you guys in the next one. Let's see. Peace. Oh, All right. What's going on with you, big buddy? Apparently a lot. Hmm. We got 7:30.